Hey guys, what's up? So today, I'm doing one of these tier lists. So yeah, even though I'm done with my Final Fantasy VII Remake review, I am still in the mood to talk about Final Fantasy, and it's been a while since I've uploaded anything, so let's just get right to it here. And first off, I'm doing main series games only, so I'm not counting any, like, sequels, spin-offs. So okay, let's start with the obvious. Whoop. Yep, what can I say? If you've been following this channel, Final Fantasy VII is my favorite game of all time. I mean so I won't spend too much time talking about it. I mean, I probably already explained it in detail, so moving on. So let's I'm gonna kind of do a top 15 here as well. So I would say my least favorite one is... Now, I know that's kind of a controversial opinion. It's not the... Man, we're getting controversial already. It's not the most agreeable opinion, I admit, but then when I thought of games like Xenoblade Chronicles, Skyrim, Witcher, I was like, wow, this game sucks. I mean, it's a very average open world game, and it doesn't really have what I look for in a Final Fantasy. And also, the reason why it's my least favorite is because, like, the more I think about it, the more I stray away from it. Like, I mean, game is serious. So, alright, moving on. So, we're gonna move up to D tier now. So, let's see. And number 14 would be Final Fantasy 12. I mean, objectively, I will say Final Fantasy 12 is objectively a good game. However, I've only played I've played about like 8 hours of it. I mean, like, it was objectively a good game, but it's not really my cup of tea. I mean, I've even heard about the story that it does not get better. Like, I mean, I don't know the entire story, but like, I mean, like I said, it's objectively good, but I feel like this is the one Final Fantasy that's, not made for me. So, can't really say much about it. I mean, the only one out of like other than these right here, the only games I have not beat are 12 and 3. Like, I will admit, I enjoyed 15 more, but it's also like, but that's also because 15 doesn't, like, ask much out of you, whereas, like, if you were to look up how long to beat for this game, and yeah, it's a long one, which yeah, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense why I would put this game over 15, but like, 15 objectively, I mean, if I had to give 15 a scale of 1 to 10, I'd give it a 4 out of 10, which then 12, I would not give a score due to it, because like I said, objectively, it's a good game. It's just not made for me personally. And then moving up to number, let's see, 13. My 13th favorite is Final Fantasy 3. 3 I did enjoy initially. I did. However, I ended up not finishing this one. Like, these two are the only ones out of the main games I did not finish. Oh, and I'm not counting 11 and 14 as games you can beat, so... because as they are made to be played for a long time, so Final Fantasy 3, like, I did enjoy it initially, but I lost interest eventually, because one, the job system, it's a cool idea, but Final But to me, it's like, why play this game when you got Final Fantasy V? I mean, why play 3 when there's 5? I mean, because from what I remember, 3 kind of punishes you for changing jobs, which isn't that kind of the point to like experiment with what kind of jobs you want to do, and I did not experience, and here's another reason why I have not beat this one, like I've heard about the final dungeon, how you have to like, how at the start of it, you have to like start on it and then run through it or do it, beat the final boss all without saving. And I heard you have to grind a lot at the end, which, I mean, when I played Persona 3, I grinded a lot at the end. But in Persona 3, I was able to save during all my grinding, but not being able to save, but having that and not being able to save here in 3, I'm like, yeah, I don't need to experience that. I mean, I experienced tons of grinding at the end of like Persona 3 with saving, so I don't think I need to experience that without saving. So 12th favorite would be Final Fantasy II. I get how some people would make is like their least favorite. However, personally, I did not enjoy this one the least. I mean, sure, this game can be broken in half. Like, the leveling system is like, you take damage, you raise a certain stat, and then, which, it's been a while since I played it, so memory's a little rusty, but, like, for example, you would use a sword, you raise the sword skill, you would use your bow and arrow, you raise the archery skill, and, one thing other people have complained about is you can attack your own party members and it would like increase your health, which is like, yeah, this game is broken, but like when I played it, I found it to be like a turn-based hack and slash. I mean, didn't really bother me all that much, but at the same time though, one other flaw it has is it's open world, but it should not be open world. Like, this is like, I mean, I was able to figure out where to go because of like, whenever I reach an enemy that's like, over leveled when compared to my party members, I would take it as like, that's the wrong way. And then when I go another direction, oh, enemies are too strong, wrong way. And then when I go the right direction, and then the enemies are about what I can handle, then I'd say it's the right way. But it's like, some people have I had a friend point out that this was like one of those games where it's like, where do I go? Final Fantasy II? I mean, like and also there's that, you would go out and do a mission, and then report back to headquarters. So there's also that bit of backtracking in there, and then there's also this extra chapter for after you beat the game, but I did not do that extra chapter. But I do think it's a cool idea on how like the main villain, conquers heaven and hell. It's a pretty cool idea. And then for a game in the NES era, there's actual characters here, which is pretty cool. But alright, moving on. Let's see, 15, 14, 12. And my 11th favorite is Final Fantasy XI. So, I said in my review of Final Fantasy VII Remake that this is the only one in the series I have not played. Well, I finally decided to play it just to say I played it pretty much, which I mean, I don't really have any complaints. I mean, I'm sure it was amazing for what it was at the time, but yeah, I mean, but also like one of the reasons why I don't play World of Warcraft in this day and age is because I didn't get into it back then, and so it's like, play a World of Warcraft for me today would be like if I play World of Warcraft today, I'd feel late to the party, and this game is an MMO. Like, in fact, the rest of these games are single player games, except 14. That's another online game, but like 11 is basically World of Warcraft, and it's even older than World of Warcraft actually, and well, that's why it's so low. I mean, that's also why. I mean, if I played it at the time it came out, it would have been one where I'd play this one over these. And but you know, I feel late to the party for this one, which is why I only played it for a bit just to say I played it. But I will say it's good for its time. So moving on, now we're going 15. So now we're going now we're in the top 10 here. So, and kicking off the top 10 is like the very first Final Fantasy. So I've only played the first Final Fantasy one other time, but I played the 20th Anniversary Edition that would have been out on PSP, although I played the iOS version of it, not the PSP version, but I played it and I think it's aged surprisingly well. I mean when I think about it compared to its other like NES brethren, I mean, I think it's aged the best. Like, it's like I found it more streamlined than 2, which it's designed to where, you know, your objective is up there. Like, at the start though, there would be this point where the bridge is out, and so the only other direction to go is like right up there. Then after the bridge is fixed, it's like you cross that bridge, and I mean, it's a pretty streamlined game. It's not one where it's like, you know, where do I go? And it also doesn't really have the, like, you know, 3 at one point had a sort of a, you had to do a boss with all dragoons, so I think more variables and balancing needed to be considered for 3, but Final Fantasy 1, I mean, despite I've only played it one time, I mean, I think it's aged well. I mean, it's like, even though it has a high encounter rate, and it's a game from the NES still, but NES era still, but I think it's aged surprisingly well. So now moving on to my 9th favorite is, okay, I know some of you would say that's like, you know, I know some of you would put it like right here somewhere, 13, but I don't actually hate 13 personally. Like, in fact, I actually played it twice. With the second time, I'm trying to understand the story, which, it's not a bad game because it's linear, it's why it's linear, that's the problem. But anyway, I'll have to do a review on that. So moving on, so let's see, 9, 8. Now let's see, 15, 14. My 8th favorite is Final Fantasy IV. Now, I know there are a lot of people that sing this game's praises, but like, I tried to play it several different times. I finally beat it on the PSP. Like, I first tried to play the Super Nintendo version, and in my honest opinion, that version didn't age well. I tried playing the DS version. I played up to the moon, but like the enemies started one-hit KOing me, so I just dropped it then and there. And then there's the PSP version, which is a version I like the best, which has like, you know, nice sprites and whatnot. And the reason why it's like, you know, number 8 on my list and C tier in this case, though, I mean, it's worth playing, don't get me wrong, but like, the reason why it's like more mid tier is because it's like, it has a good story, but in my opinion, not the best gameplay, if you know what I mean. And then another good one is, let's see, C or B tier. Let's see, this would be my 7th favorite Final Fantasy. Let's see, Final Fantasy V. Let's see. I'm having trouble with this one. Let's see, 5. I'm gonna go ahead and put it at C tier, cause I mean, I love the game's soundtrack. It's very catchy, and I love the job system as well. But it's also, it doesn't have as strong a story as some of the other games, but it's great from a gameplay standpoint. I would definitely play it again if they remade this. And although, so again, I prefer other games in the series. So but yeah, 5 is a good one, definitely an underrated one for sure. And so now let's move on. And then my 6th favorite would be 14. Like, I didn't play it when it came out because I know it was like, you know, so bad when it came out, but it's actually been a while since I played 14 because like I got a backlog of other games to play, but I have played 14, and yeah, 14 is a great MMO. I mean, I never got into World of Warcraft, but like the only MMO I got into was basically Final Fantasy 14. I mean, great MMO. I mean, definitely serves a good 6. It's my 6th favorite Final Fantasy for sure. And then okay, so now we're in the top 5. So I would say 6 is my 5th favorite. Now I know there's a lot of people that would put this at number 1, but for me personally, like, I mean, I haven't touched this game since 2012, but I do remember it being a good game. I mean, one that's aged really well too, and so yeah, and I like, some of the characters were good, has a pretty good story. Well, actually, the story was kind of, I mean, I'd say the story got way more interesting at World of Ruin, and while I do acknowledge Kefka as a good villain, he's also not my personal taste. I mean, I prefer villains that are more dynamic in their character rather than villains that are like, you know, black and white, bad, like bad guys. Like, I prefer more dynamic villains, which is why Kefka wouldn't be my favorite villain, even though, and like my favorite character in Final Fantasy VI is Celeste, and yeah, it's a good game for sure. And then 4th favorite is 9. I mean, so basically at first I played this one because out of like the because at the time the PS1 Final Fantasies I played were 7, 8. Like, I played because this was the one PS1 Final Fantasy I haven't played yet, and well, it didn't quite grab me at first, but I later got really into it. Like, I've only played it one other time, but but I am interested in playing it again sometime soon, and then... So, yeah, that's my 4th favorite. Now, we're in A tier, and this is... 3rd favorite is Final Fantasy X. I mean, I think Final Fantasy X is a gorgeous game, and I really like the story, and the gameplay, it's pretty good. I find it very strategic, and the one thing that holds it back is the voice acting, and it also is a little bit more linear, which is closer to like how 13 was, but personally, I found it to be like I found it to still be Final Fantasy just without the world map. But like I said, I really like this one, and then unpopular opinion, my 2nd favorite one is Final Fantasy VIII. So yeah, I mean, I admit 8 is a bit of a weird one. I mean, gameplay wise, it's weird. I mean, story, there's a few things I would have done differently, but 8 to me is a flawed, like, masterpiece of sorts. Like, I mean, like, I've played these two, like, 7 and 8 around, like, 5 times a pop. Like, I got into the series in 2009, which is why I haven't played, like, 7 more than 10 times yet. I mean, that, and I was busy, like, I was busy going back and playing the rest of these games, and so, yep, 8 is my 2nd favorite one. And so, thank you guys for watching. If you like this video, be sure to subscribe and like, share with your friends. With that being said, have yourself a fantastic day and take care.